Good morning. I'm Linda Powell, and this is a new year, as we all know. And this morning I was wondering, have you ever asked yourself after New Year's resolutions, if I really could change something about my life, what would it be? Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, I felt a need to change some things. And I had started on this little quest for, well, what gives me peace? What gives me joy? What do I do that brings me hope? What kind of friends bring me hope? As you are well aware, many of you, I have been fighting a cancer journey for about 3 years, hundreds of trips to chemo. Well, in that rearview mirror of looking back that so many of us do when we hit certain ages, I've been looking, well, what is healing? And not everybody can be cured of a disease, but we can all be healed from the heart outward. So I began a journey about dealing with some issues that had troubled me. Even when cancer has tried to trip me up and discourage me, and even when others' decisions have profoundly affected my life and given pain, I can still choose to search for reverence and peace and hope. One such moment occurred 3 weeks ago. Amidst some troubling news, with suffering, there's also great joy. And we were blessed with a new grandson. And it was just that moment of sheer ecstasy. And all you grandparents said, well, little Jones is here for his first Sunday today. He brings us such excitement and joy and wonder. He joins 5 other grandchildren, 1 boy, 4 girls, who continually delight me and surprise me. And we have kind of a crazy family. It's a blended family, and it has brought us great joy. I refuse to waste precious emotional energy on things I can't change. That's one of the advantages of looking back. So instead of saying, if I had only, I've changed. And I say, even though such and such happened, I choose to celebrate life. Many of you are thinking, this woman is in denial. She is crazy. I assure you I'm not. Jeremiah 29:13 became kind of a cornerstone verse for me, which has helped me greatly. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And then, of course, Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. It's hard in our world of all of the iPads, TVs, music in elevators, cell phones, Blackberries, to find any peace. But I was determined. I was really bent on finding it. So it began a journey of getting up early in the morning before anyone would be up. And it is precious time that God has done miraculous things in my heart and in my family's hearts. There's nothing worse for me than to get up and hear some news show blaring. So I dedicate an hour to nothing is going to be turned on in the house except for the coffee pot. In the summer, I do go outside. I love to do walks around the yard. That is a good place to hear from the Lord because it's His creation. But of course, in the winter that we've already had, I sit in front of the fireplace. There are things that I do that aid in really listening with my heart. Contemplative prayer is not something weird. It's not something that only certain denominations do. The great people of our faith practiced it. And somewhere along the way, Baptists decided lots of committees took the place, I think. Or we decided, just get out there and do it. Just that program needs to be done. Then we ask God to bless it when we haven't sought Him. So I know that this is a new way of living. And I want you to have that richness. It helps me to first slow down every morning. And I do not come to the Lord with an agenda. I want Him to impress upon me. So in this respect, I first breathe differently. So let's just take, for instance, be still and know that I am God. If that's my verse for a couple of days, then I will breathe in for the first half of the verse and breathe out for the second half. And that helps my breathing to slow down. And then I also focus very much on what is different about sitting here and listening. So I close my eyes most times so that you can't see the dirty dishes on the counter or whatever. No one usually calls at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. And you won't be interrupted by other things or whatever interrupts your life. So you have two kinds of noise, internal and external. And if you say, I've tried to be still, and it's hard, but it's not hard if you make it a practice. And what is neat is on the inside of yourself, when those internal voices start screaming, you need to do this, you need to do that. Jot it down on a piece of paper, set it aside, and be done. Well, I wanted to share with you that I call that sacred space, my holy of holies. And the Lord really has done some amazing things if I'm still and quiet. And He gives me strength, such strong strength. I started out with 20 minutes, and it was easy to increase it because I didn't want to leave. But one of the side effects, one of the greatest blessings, is the tenderness and the thoughtfulness that I feel in my heart. If you just spend time alone with God, you will seek after other avenues that will give you such peace. And you won't be as likely, instead of listening to a sarcastic talk show where people are putting each other down, which starts your whole day off wrong. And we don't need to be a part of that. We need to be peacemakers. We need to be people of healing and hope. So I challenge you, try for a week. Just start with 15 or 20 minutes. Pick one verse you love. Stay focused on it. Then move on to other areas. When you sit and you practice breathing slowly, that's your cue to slow down and listen. If you want a heart full of love and joy, compassion and integrity, you need to grab hold of some solitude. Spend some alone time and spend some silent time every morning. The verse, delight in the Lord and He will give you the desires of your heart. You know what happens. He changes the desires of your heart. Well, the other day, Dr. Christopher and I had visited about some hope. And I want to tell you what came to me early one morning. Even in my darkest moments, I remain surprised and delighted with hope. She shocks me with her grace, comforts me with her gratitude, and strengthens me with her faith. Thank you, church. I love you.